taking responsibility for other people. Not a child in a parent relationship, but I'm talking about an adult taking on an adult. It's a pattern learned. It feels like you've taken the weight of that person's existence and placed it on your shoulders. So when they're in distress and they're not in a good place, you feel like you have to be the one to get them back on track. Like you feel in discomfort when they're not where they need to be, when they're struggling through something and they're not doing what they need to do, you feel like you need to get them back on track, or you feel like you need to take control of the situation, or it frustrates you, irritates you, and really throws you off your center. And you overly invest in what's going on in their life. That is a sign that you're taking on responsibility of somebody else that's not yours. I've had a couple people in my life that I've had that pattern with, and I've just had the second one come up into my awareness, and it's been a wild ride to experience, because I literally feel like whatever's going on with them, that I placed all that weight here on my shoulders, and when things are going awry, things aren't going the way I think they should, then the world's in chaos and I'm freaking out. That's a lot of responsibility to put on ourselves, to take responsibility for other people. This is really a strong pattern for like energy healers, light workers. We just have such big hearts. We can see the highest potential in people. And when the people that we love in our lives are not thriving, or they're in unsafe situations that we feel like is unsafe, then our energy like goes off the Richter scale, and navigating that, it can be very heavy energy. It feels very unsafe, whatever they're going through. They could like not give a shit, but you love them and you see they're in a bad spot, and you've just decided that they're not capable of taking on responsibility for their life because maybe they have a pattern of not taking care of themselves or living their highest good. And so you see them as somebody who needs to be taken on. And so then you overinvest in their energy. You try to figure out their problems. You feel like anything and everything that happens in their life is your situation. You try to push and force them to do things. You try to control situations with them. It's a whole bucket of yeah. But, you know, there is a higher plan in order. Every individual has a soul path here on this earth, in this learning school. And everybody's is unique. And they're not all going to be sunshine and roses. And we get to accept that. We get to accept however anybody's path looks like. We can have love and compassion for them, but we get to release the responsibility for them. Even if they're completely fighting the grain and you think they shouldn't. Take your hands off, get your energy out of there. Just focus on the love and compassion and the beautiful connections you have had with them, and let go of the responsibility on yourself. It's a huge burden to take on, and it just makes more conflict for you and them, because you end up leading the conversations and the interactions and the relationship like in a controlling and forceful situation, and it stresses you out way more, and it puts a strain on the relationship. You most likely probably put them at a distance, especially if they're like a chronic person who doesn't live up to the values that you think, or is chronically in situations that feel unsafe to you. So then you try to course correct the situation by taking control of it and trying to make it safer for you. But in reality, you're just making their life harder and your life harder. And it could be even more intense if it's a parent or a sibling. You know, I know some of us older siblings, sometimes we take on a sibling as our responsibility. You know, if our parents worked a lot and we were older and we had to babysit that sibling, we might start taking on feeling like we have the responsibility of taking them on because we have to watch them while our parents are gone, you know. Or if we have a parent that just struggles a lot, we will compromise ourselves, abandon ourselves to see how we can meet the emotional needs of that parent or that sibling. And it really creates a deficit within us because, again, not only do we place all that responsibility on our shoulders, all that stress of that person and trying to control it, but it just pulls us down and drains us. And the more we can step back and realize that and release it, the better off you're going to be. Because we have enough responsibility as it is. And when we fully abandon ourselves to make other people's needs more important, we don't fully get to step into our power. We don't fully get to take responsibility for our lives. We don't get to live up to our full potential. Because when we take energy off ourselves, we diminish our essence. And so it becomes, you know, this heavy burden. And, you know, you most likely build some resentment for that person too, because you took on this responsibility, you know, and it's probably a subconscious belief. And you just feel it, and then you take the responsibility on, and you're like, you don't want to spend time with them, or they're a burden to you, or whatever they're doing is wrong. And it's just because you placed all that responsibility on yourself, and they're not doing what you think they should be doing. They're not living their life the way you think they should be living. And then the relationship can't really grow because you were stuck in a bunch of fear and anxiety about them. And so you distance yourself. When in reality, if you just let that responsibility go, you could just interact with them however you can, and then just let their life be their life. We're not here to judge, you know, we're not here to think that everybody has to live up to our standards. And you know what? People gotta live their soul pattern no matter what. And that's just how it is. This is a big lesson for me. And I know there's a lot of healers out there who have taken responsibility on. I know a lot of us have taken on responsibility for either a sibling or a parent, because a lot of us who were raised as latchkey kids, you know, staying home alone at a really young age, you know, and having to do our own laundry, cooking dinner, taking care of our siblings really early on. You know, we were forced to grow up faster. And so as we took that responsibility on at a younger age, then it was like pretty much lots of things in our atmosphere and the people around us, we took on responsibility. That's just what we did to move through things. And if they were taken care of, then all was well. But at the sacrifice of our own selves. And so then we find that we have this pattern of abandoning ourselves to go meet somebody else's needs or to go take care of them, when you're like, hold up, I'm draining my life force for this person because I feel like I'm enslaved to them, but I'm not. It's not that belief. So be mindful of that. See where you might have relationships where you try to control them, or you put too much of your own energy in thinking about it, or if there's people in your life where you place a lot of emphasis on them, and that you find that you're resentful of them because you think a lot about their life or their experiences or how you're going to help them. And just take a look at how you might be sacrificing yourself in that situation, and ask yourself if that's really a pattern you want to continue to live out. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to my rambling. Until the next video, love and laughter.